What's up everyone, welcome back to the channel and welcome to the 2020 Lexus RX 450h. It's the biggest SUV Lexus sells, and while I don't usually drive such cars on my channel, I have to say that I'm pretty impressed with it so far. So in today's video, I'm gonna walk you through this car's specs. I'm gonna show you some of the awesome features it has, but I'm also gonna tell you some of its downsides. And finally, I'm gonna tell you if it's worth considering one if you're in the market for large, premium hybrid SUVs. So yeah, today's video is gonna be a Matt Watson ripoff, basically. This RX 450h you see here is the highest trim possible for a Lexus. It's finished in this terrain khaki color, or green for us common folks. It rides on 20-inch wheels and it features this quite striking exterior design. And all I have to say about it is that if you're gonna make a car with a huge grille, then this is the way to do it if you ask me. It's unusual, but I like it. I think it fits very well with such a big vehicle. But anyway, the drivetrain, probably my favorite thing about this car. Under the bonnet you'll find a 3.5-liter V6 petrol engine that drives the front wheels via a CVT gearbox. Then you have one electric motor that helps the engine drive the front wheels and another one that drives the back ones. The battery is stored under the boot floor, and the only way to charge this car is by a combination of the engine and the regenerative braking of the car. So you can't really plug it into a socket to charge it up. For a premium/luxury proposition, having a naturally aspirated V6 under the bonnet is a major plus in my book. It's a more refined engine, it makes more sense for such a big car, and it's pretty powerful to say the least. Look at this interior, it's absolutely gorgeous, understated luxury as I like to call it. I've really tried hard these past 7 days to find some poor quality materials inside the new RX, but I couldn't. The leather is superb, build quality feels fantastic, and even the plastics feel good to the touch. Lexus did a great job on this interior. The seats are electrically operated, heated and ventilated. But get this, the seat heaters have an automatic function that allows the computer to turn the heat up or down depending on the climate controlled temperature. The infotainment system has been upgraded as well. The screen has been brought closer to the driver. It's now a touchscreen, so it's more user-friendly than using this mouse thingy over here. It's not really the best infotainment system out there, but it's not bad to use anyway. You have Android Auto, Apple CarPlay, and this quite fantastic Mark Levinson stereo speaker system. Driving position is high like we would expect in an SUV. The seat is extremely comfortable, and overall this is a very nice place to be in. The same can be said for the back seats. The floor is flat because there's no transmission tunnel, so you can transport 3 people in the back with ease. But yeah, I think it's time to drive this car. But before we do that, let's discuss the title of today's video. In 2005, Lexus released the RX 400h, which was the first luxury hybrid SUV. At that time, it was quicker and more efficient than most of its rivals. But that's not the big secret of the Lexus RX hybrid, or rather the less known fact, not exactly a secret. 4 months after releasing the RX 400h, a private racing team that had the full factory support from Lexus decided to race this car in the Nürburgring 24-hour race. Yes folks, you've heard that right, someone decided to race a hybrid SUV on the Nürburgring. And not only did they race in one of the toughest 24-hour races in the world, but they actually finished 79th overall and 13th in class. That's a pretty impressive stat, especially considering that in 2005 the hybrid technology was still in an incipient stage, and the fact that the RX 400h managed to get to the end tells you quite a lot about how committed was Lexus to this technology. But now, let's see how the 2020 RX 450 drives. First impressions? Well, this thing is supremely comfortable and refined. No outside noise makes its way to the inside of the cabin. Even the engine, unfortunately, is barely audible. It glides through bumps and potholes, and no crack in the asphalt is big enough to upset this car's suspension. And the powertrain works quietly in the background to make your journey as pleasant and as economical as possible. When was the last time you drove a 2-ton plus SUV capable of producing 313 horsepower that can average 9 liters per 100 kilometers? And let's be honest, that's pretty impressive because it's really difficult to get to those figures in a diesel SUV, let alone in a 6-cylinder petrol. And those 313 horsepower, that's the maximum output of this car. 262 come from the petrol engine up front, 167 from the front-mounted electric engine, and 68 from the one in the back. And that makes this car reach 100 km per hour from standstill in 7.7 seconds. So it's not exactly slow. It does take off very well when you floor the throttle, but it does so in a very elegant way, so to speak. It doesn't push you back in your seat, let's put it that way. It just wafts along. Before we move on, let me explain this car's powertrain in a bit more detail. So like I've said, you have a 3.5 liter V6 petrol engine responsible for powering the front wheels with the help of an electric motor, of course. The back wheels are also driven, but not by the petrol engine, but by another electric motor. The front wheels are powered through a CVT box, which according to Lexus is equivalent to a regular 8-speed automatic transmission. Because this isn't a plug-in hybrid, it means the battery can only be charged by the engine or by the energy recovered from the regenerative braking system. And it's also quite a small battery, so driving in pure electric mode doesn't last more than a few miles. Thankfully, when the petrol engine kicks in to help, it does so without you even noticing. That's how smooth it is. So yeah, to simplify things, this car can use electric power alone to drive the wheels, but it can also use both petrol and electric power to do that. And when you're just cruising along in a relaxed manner, the petrol engine can drive the front wheels while also charging the battery. And this is one of the most impressive features about this hybrid system, how seamless all this switching between petrol and electric power is. And if you didn't have this cool graphic over here, you could never tell what's going on underneath when the car is moving. Even though this car has 4 driving modes, Eco, Normal, Sport and Sport Plus for some reason, I see absolutely no difference when switching between them. Except for the fact that the dials in front of me change their design a little bit. Throttle response doesn't feel sharper, the steering is pretty much the same as in Eco mode, and the same goes for the body control. But that's not a bad thing really, because this car never really wants you to drive it in a sporty manner. It's all about refinement and how easy it is to drive. You just need to sit back, enjoy the light steering and the supremely comfortable seats, and just eat up the miles. You might think this car is pretty expensive, but beside this quite lovely engine and brilliant hybrid system, there's an enormous amount of equipment on board, which starts to make the price seem generous. You have pre-collision systems, adaptive cruise control, late departure alert, lane keep assist, wireless smartphone chargers, perforated leather upholstery, you get the gist. So I guess now it's time to mention some of the things I don't really like about this car. And the first one is the boot space, which is significantly reduced because of the battery pack that sits just underneath it. And this is not a Lexus thing, most hybrid cars have that problem. And the second issue I have with this car is these paddles behind the steering wheel. I'm not sure what they do actually, because if you're in sport mode and you decide for some reason to change gears yourself, it doesn't really do anything because this is a CVT gearbox. So I don't know what the point of these are. So it's not really a downside, it's just me being a moron and not really knowing what these do. But as a conclusion to this video, my friends, I'm really impressed with this car actually. But it's not a vehicle that will make you go, wow. This SUV is more like something that works in the background without you knowing, that just makes your life easier. I like this car, I like it a lot. And if you're in the market for a large SUV, you definitely need to check out this new Lexus RX 450h. That's been it for today's video, my friends. I really hope you've enjoyed it. Please give it a thumbs up if you have, and make sure you're subscribed for plenty more videos to come. And until next time, take good care of yourselves, and I'll see you around.